There is a very short list of experiences in my life that I consider genuinely, deeply unexplainable. Not strange, not coincidental, not the result of me misremembering details. Genuinely unexplainable. What happened during this hitchhiking trip is at the top of that list. I've looked for a rational answer for 8 years. I haven't found one. I'm not sure one exists. This is not a ghost story. It's a true, unexplained encounter. This happened in the summer of 2015. I was 25 years old and living in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I just finished a graduate program and had a few months before my new job started. I decided to spend some of that time traveling. I had a modest budget and flexible time, so I was mixing hitchhiking with occasional bus rides to get around. This particular story involves a 3-day stretch of travel through rural Wyoming and Montana. I was making my way northwest, loosely planning to end up in Missoula before turning back south. No fixed itinerary, just moving. I'd been on the road for about a week when this happened. I was in central Wyoming, somewhere between Casper and the Montana state line. The landscape up there is extraordinary. Wide open sky, rolling grassland, the kind of emptiness that makes you feel genuinely small. I loved it. I'd caught a ride that morning that had gotten me about 50 miles north of Casper, and I was now standing at a junction where a state highway crossed the main road, waiting for my next ride. It was mid-afternoon. The sky was huge and pale blue and cloudless. I waited for about 45 minutes. Maybe 6 or 7 cars passed. Nobody stopped. Then a truck pulled over. It was a newer pickup. Dark blue. Clean, well-maintained. The driver's window came down. The driver was a man who I estimated to be around 40. Angular face, dark hair going gray at the temples, several days of beard growth. He was wearing a plain gray t-shirt. He looked normal. He looked tired. He looked like someone on a long drive who maybe wanted company. "Where you headed?" he asked. "Trying to get up toward the Montana line," I said. "Eventually Missoula." He tilted his head. "I'm going through Sheridan. Get you up toward the state line if you want." Sheridan was about 100 miles north. That was a solid push in the right direction. "That'd be perfect," I said. "Thank you." I got in. He introduced himself as Tom. We shook hands. He had a firm handshake, the automatic kind that people develop from years of professional interactions. He said he was driving from Denver to visit family in Sheridan, his parents, who were getting older and needed more help. He said it with a tone I recognized, the particular mix of love and exhaustion that comes with being the adult child of aging parents. We talked. He asked where I was from, where I was going, what I'd done for school. I told him. He listened with genuine interest. He told me about his own life. He worked in commercial real estate in Denver, had 2 kids in middle school, had done some traveling when he was young but not enough. He was good company, easy to talk to, funny in a dry way, without being performative about it. The miles went quickly. About an hour into the drive, we stopped for gas at a small station. He got out to fill the tank. I stayed in the truck. When he got back in, he set a bottle of water in the cup holder between us. "Got you one," he said. "Thanks," I said. "What do I owe you?" He waved it off. "Don't worry about it." We got back on the highway. About 20 minutes later, he said something that stopped my brain mid-sentence on whatever I'd been thinking about. He said my name. Not generically. Not hey or man or any of the filler words people use. My full name. First and last. He said it in the middle of a sentence, the way you'd use someone's name when you know them well enough that using it feels natural. I went very still. I had not told him my last name. I was certain of this. When he'd introduced himself and we'd shaken hands, I'd given my first name only. I always did, hitchhiking. First name only. "Wait," I said. "What did you just call me?" He glanced at me. Faintly puzzled expression. "Sorry, you just said my name." My full name. He thought for a moment. "Did I?" "Yeah. My last name." "I never told you my last name." He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "You must have mentioned it at some point." "I didn't," I said. "I'm certain." He shrugged. "I must have misheard something." "I thought you told me." He seemed genuinely unconcerned. His body language hadn't changed. His expression was still the same mild, tired driver face. He didn't look caught or nervous or guilty. But the hairs on my arm were standing up. I ran back through our conversation, start to finish. He had not asked for my last name. I had not offered it. We hadn't exchanged any information that could have led to him knowing it. I didn't have anything visible. No bags with tags, no ID, nothing outside of what I was carrying in my pockets. Tom, I said carefully, how did you know my last name? I told you, I thought you mentioned it, he said. I didn't. He glanced at me again. I probably just heard you wrong. It's a long drive. I'm tired. He turned his eyes back to the road. I looked at him for a long time. He drove. He didn't elaborate. He didn't seem anxious to convince me of anything. He just drove. We were in the middle of empty Wyoming, the grassland stretching out in every direction, no town visible in any direction, and the man driving me had just used my full name without being able to explain how he knew it. I thought about a lot of things in the next few minutes. I thought about the bottle of water sitting in the cup holder that he'd bought for me without being asked. I hadn't opened it. I looked at it. It was sealed. Normal commercially bottled water. I picked it up and examined the cap. The safety seal looked intact. I set it back down. I looked at Tom. He was driving, relaxed, occasionally checking his mirrors. Tom, I said, I need to ask you something directly. Sure, he said. How do you actually know my last name? He was quiet for a moment, long enough that the silence felt intentional. Then he said, I think you should probably drink that water. Something cold and immediate flooded through my entire body. I looked at the water bottle. I looked at Tom. He was looking at the road. He hadn't said drink the water in a helpful, you must be thirsty way. He'd said it in direct response to me asking how he knew my name, as if it were related, as if it were an alternative to answering my question, as if he wanted me to drink it and stop asking questions. Pull over, I said. He didn't respond. Tom, pull over the truck, please. We're in the middle of nowhere, he said. Next town is 40 miles. Pull over. A pause. Something in my voice must have changed because he looked at me properly for the first time since I'd questioned the name thing. Whatever he saw in my face, it seemed to recalibrate something. He pulled over. The truck crunched onto the gravel shoulder and stopped. We were surrounded by empty grassland. A barbed wire fence ran along the side of the road. No buildings, no other vehicles. I'd like to get out here, I said. You've got 40 miles of nothing ahead of you, he said. At least let me take you to the next town. I'm good here, I said. I got out of the truck. I got my pack from the back. I shut the door and stepped back from the vehicle. Tom sat there for a moment. I could see him through the window, looking at me. His expression was unreadable. Then he pulled back onto the highway and drove north. I watched his truck until it disappeared over a low rise. I stood on the shoulder for a moment. Then I pulled out my phone. I had a weak signal, barely 2 bars. I called my mother. She was the first person in my contacts. She answered on the second ring. I told her where I was roughly. I told her I was fine, but I wanted someone to know my location. She was alarmed and wanted to know what was wrong. I told her I'd explain later. Then I started walking. It took me 2.5 hours to reach a small town. A gas station, a diner, a motel. I went to the diner, got food, and sat at the counter for a long time. I've turned the Tom encounter over in my head so many times I've lost count. I've tried every rational explanation. Maybe he'd seen something in the truck, a piece of paper, a label on my bag that had my name on it. But I'd had my bag in my lap the whole time, and I'd checked it multiple times since. Nothing. Maybe he'd encountered me before somehow, in some context I'd forgotten. But that seemed deeply unlikely given that I'd never been to Wyoming and he'd said he drove up from Denver. Maybe he'd misheard something I'd said and my last name had coincidentally sounded like whatever he misheard. Possible. Unlikely, given how distinctive my last name is. And then there's the water. The comment about the water, delivered in direct response to my question. Think about that. I ask how he knew my last name, and instead of answering, he tells me to drink the water. I've talked myself into and out of benign explanations for that comment 100 times. Maybe he was deflecting awkwardly. Maybe it was an unusual coincidence of timing. Maybe he genuinely thought I should drink some water and happened to say it right then. But here's what I know. I did not drink that water. I left it in the cup holder when I got out of the truck. Whatever was in it, water or something else, I didn't consume it. And I was fine. I got to Missoula 4 days later. I finished my trip, started my job in September, built a normal life. But I've been careful ever since. Very careful about what strangers offer me. Very careful about what I accept from people I don't know. And I've never been able to fully shake the feeling that Tom, whoever he was, had planned to give me that water from the very beginning. That he'd stopped for me specifically. That he'd known who I was before I got in the truck. That the whole ride, the easy conversation, the dry humor, the story about his aging parents, was a performance designed to make me comfortable enough to drink something I never should have touched. I don't know how he knew my name. I don't know what was in that water. And I hope I never find out.